And the first story I'd like to read is a completely unpublished story. It's a story that you'll pretty much only hear on tour. It's nowhere. And I wanted to bring you something that would be exclusive to thank you for making the effort for getting out. So, the story is called Cold Calling. Cold Calling. The computer that we got, it feeds me a Mrs. Wayne Timmons with a Battle Creek area code. It's the first week that we're cold calling for the Wonder Wet Wiper. Not just a mop, but a whole entire floor enhancement system. The only sure way for you to protect and preserve your fine quality floor coverings. An inexpensive way to save you thousands of dollars in ruined hardwood or costly vinyl laminate damage. All of that peace of mind for just 3 easy payments of. And Mrs. Wayne Timmons in Battle Creek says, "Hold up." She says, "Why should I buy anything from you?" It's our policy says to jump back to level 2 statements. Because the Wonder Wet Wiper will save you far more than its cost in time saved and eventual resale on your home. And Mrs. Wayne Timmons says, "Do you even believe in God?" It's not on the approved response script. But I answered. Dialogue outside of the established flowcharts, officially it's called a jog. Officially, we're not supposed to engage with off-track subject tangents, but I told her, yeah. And Mrs. Wayne Timmons says, "Our one true Christian God?" Yeah. Officially, I'm supposed to redirect the topic back to the Wonder Wet Wiper, saying how it's so easy that cleaning her kitchen floor will no longer count as servile work on the Sabbath. And Mrs. Wayne Timmons, she says, "You don't believe in some smiling elephant god, do you?" She says, "Are you sure you don't worship some naked woman with a lot of wiggling arms?" The basics of any outbound call are you start with the greet, the grant, and the pitch. First you say good evening or morning or whatever, that's the greet part. You ask for permission to speak with the customer, that's the grant part. Only then do you pitch. "What time is it there?" says Mrs. Wayne Timmons. "It's 4 in the afternoon here," she says. "It's 3 o'clock here," I say, "same afternoon." Another jog. Enough jogs and the training supervisor registers a demerit. Enough demerits and you'll be looking for an even worse paying job. And Mrs. Wayne Timmons says, "Don't lie to me about the time." She says, "Are you in Calcutta or New Delhi? India or Pakistan?" Another jog. "I'm in Walla Walla." I pray to her exact same God, the big old man with a white beard. And she says, "What's your name?" And I say, "Bill." And she says, "Don't lie to me, Omar or Mrs. Wayne Timmons says, "We Americans know how you're trained. It's been in the newspapers and on the TV. You're given regular names and they teach you how to talk like a normal, real person." She says, "But we still know that you're taking food out of the mouths of our sweet American babies." Across the networking floor, the training supervisor looks up from her desk, meets my eyes, her eyebrows sprung up. She points one fingernail at the digital readout on the wall, the calls in progress, the total calls per shift, and how my jogs are dragging out the average length per call. The 3-minute average is stretching to 4.5. The training supervisor drags a fingernail across her throat. In my headset, Mrs. Wayne Timmons says, "You don't even eat hamburger." "I've seen pictures," she says. You let dirty cows block traffic. My eyes, I'm watching the average call time stretch to 5 minutes. Associates at other desks, other banks, they're looking at me, shaking their heads at how I'm wrecking their monthly bonus. The script says that I should apologize and terminate, but I don't. I keep jogging, saying my name is William Bradley Henderson. I'm 17 years old and I go to Thomas Jefferson High School in Walla Walla, Washington. I worked 4 nights each week doing telephone sales to save up for a used car. And Mrs. Wayne Timmons says, "You people don't miss a trick." And too loud, I say it into my mouthpiece, I say, "Trust me." All around me, headsets pop up. Eyes spin around to pin me from a million directions. Black associates, Hispanic and Asian associates, Native Americans. And into my phone I whisper, I'm practically yelling, "Listen, lady, I am just as white as you." My next night at work, a man with a Sioux Falls area code says, "You people hijack our jetliners and crash them into our skyscrapers, and I'm supposed to buy your crappy mop?" He says, "Well, no friggin' thanks, Haji." A man in the Tulsa area code says, "Towel head," and hangs up. A man in the Fargo area code says, "Camel jockey," and hangs up. In the Memphis area code, a man says, "Sand nigger," and the line goes dead. Next in the phone queue, the computer feeds me a West Los Angeles area code, and the woman who answers says, "Tiananmen Square was a human rights tragedy, but you have to keep striving toward your freedom." She says, "As a member of Amnesty International, I spend every extra penny in my fight to get a decent living wage and safe working conditions for your people." She says, "You need to rise up and throw off the shackles of your imperialist corporate overlords." She says, "Be brave." But she doesn't buy the mop. Next in the phone queue, the computer feeds me a Mr. and Mrs. Wells in Washington State, area code 509, and some girl picks up. I say, "May I talk to you about a revolution in floor maintenance?" And this girl, she says, "Sure." She says, "Talk." The greet, the grant, the pitch. And interrupting me, this girl says, "I envy you." She says, "I'm trapped in this dinky town called Walla Walla. A whole tank full of gas from any place good. I go to school with clone kids, the same clothes and hair and dreams like we all came off the same assembly line, and I'm never getting out, ever." I say how the Wonder Wet Wiper constitutes a whole entire floor enhancement system. And this girl, she says, "Do you have an elephant?" She says, "Do you drive to work on a real live elephant?" The queue, the average call time, the floor supervisor, and I say, "Yeah." Breaking the script, I say, "I got a 5-year-old Indian elephant." She says, "How cool is that?" And I say, "He's named Sinbad." And this girl says, "I love that." She says, "I have a cat. Really, she's an ocelot. She'll be an ocelot when she's fully grown, but her name is Pepper." the floor supervisor is looking